Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the best number DD503. This is a set of number dies is what this is. This is a set of 9 numbers, 0 through 9. 0 through 9, and then, of course, 6 is going to be 6 and 9. Which I never really appreciated when it came to die sets. And the reason I say that is because when you have the 6, and you turn it over for the 9, the trouble is I like my die set to have a visual, a tactile indicator of what the bottom is. And with a 6 or a 9, you need to look at it. Now, the manufacturer does put their stamping on the die set on the side that would be considered the bottom. And they have this on the bottom of the 6. And you can definitely feel it when you run your thumb over it. So you get the sense of what the bottom is, although I would like a much heavier groove. But, certainly what appears to be a decent quality die set. I don't have any actual experience using one from Best. Die sets are, available from many sources. So Best versus any other locksmith tool manufacturer, they're all likely very much on par. About 2 3/8 overall length. The size of the die is 0.25 by 0.251, so 1/4 inch square. Okay, and 3/32 is the size. Now, you can get die sets in different sizes, but when it comes to locksmithing work, you can do a 3/32 of an inch size. And what you'll find commercially available is 1/8 of an inch or 3/32. I prefer the slightly smaller 3/32 size, and it's because, key blanks are small, cylinders are small. The 1/8 of an inch works really nice, provided that you're only stamping a small quantity of characters. But otherwise, 3/32, if you had to have one set, I'd probably opt for the smaller one. But you do see the larger stamp, and actually I've seen much bigger stamps on key blanks. I get photographs from clients, and they have far larger than 1/8 of an inch stamp down there. So whichever it is, but if I was going to pick one for locksmithing work, it'd probably be 3/32. Stamping this material, you do feel for that engraving that's been done, or stamping that's been done on the stamp, I should say. That's your bottom of the character, and positioning of the stamp on the key blank or maybe the cylinder is obviously straightforward and simple, although practice and patience is what it would take to get everything pretty straight. It's easy to get them not straight. And I would suggest that when you stamp your material, your key blank, let's say, that everything is fixtured down and that you make one solid stamp, no repeated hitting. You're just going to mark it twice, in my experience. And you have to have a table, not like this desk here that's made of particle board on the top. It needs to be a solid structure, and generally, like in the old days, we'd have a large round plate of steel, basically, or some heavy material that would be our stamping plate, and we'd be able to stamp on that, on a solid structure that's not connected to anything else. As you stamp, all the little pieces on your workbench seem to bounce around. So a set of 9 is what this is. Let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at the supporting documentation. Okay, so here is the item that we're looking at. Obviously, the packaging that it comes in now is a plastic case. I'd say a bit more durable than this probably heavy cardboard box. This image is very possibly from the 1960s out of their catalog. Durable high-carbon steel, number and letter die sets for marking. This is obviously the number set. Best cores and keys are available in 3/32 inch letter heights, meaning when you stamp from the factory, that's the size they're going to use. There is a cut sheet here, and that's just the one little section out of the catalog, which can be reviewed here under product brochure. Now, this 12-page mini catalog is their entire section on service equipment. When it comes to pinning best small format cores, or any core in their line, this would be the area that you will refer to when it comes to those tools. Pin kits. This contraption is called a combinator. This is what you can use to originate keys by code in a small format system. Lots of these are out there. We've sold a handful of them, and they are the correct tool for originating keys in the field, or at a installation. And the reason is because it's a die set, and the bottom cut of a key is meant to be shaped properly, and this die set has the proper shape for originating best keys. What I'm driving at is when you originate keys, and when you then cut them on a duplicator, you've got a manual, let's say a semi-automatic, duplicator with a round cutting wheel. That's going to, technically leave, if we looked at the cross-section of a key, sorry for the awful artistry, if we looked at a cross-section of the key, okay, that is actually going to look a bit more like this. Okay, and this curve, if we're looking at the cross-section of the key, that curve is what's going to represent the radius of your key cutter. Well, when you cut a key on a actual combinator, it's going to be a square prep because it's a die set, and that die set is the proper shape to originate the bottom of that key. So a cutter on a semi-automatic machine, while it will work, and I've certainly done it, it will work, it's not the right way to do it, and is not technically expected to work correctly. These need to be stamped or originated on a tool that has a die set in it. Other tools here, this is what's called a capping press. If you combinate best cores, you certainly know how much time you can use up pinning their cores. This capping press will help you make that portion of the job much faster by dropping your caps into your capping block, and then with your capping press be able to set the caps in all chambers at the same time rather than doing it by hand. And as a result of that, I'm not a fan of individually capping, only because it takes so much more time. I like a slide or a spring cover is what I prefer. Although there's a certain disadvantage to that. If you needed to eject a single chamber in a small format cylinder with a spring cover, you're going to be ejecting a lot more than one chamber, whereas with individually capped, you'll be ejecting only that one chamber. Tools here: ejector pin, capping block, tweezers. Pardon me, this is a capping pin, capping block, tweezers. This is a core and key marking die. This client actually purchased one of these as well. Okay, die sets, letters and numbers, and the marking block. Core and key marking plate. These are awfully handy. You really do want to have your material fixtured correctly, and I was referring earlier to having a large round plate of steel basically that we stamped on. Well, this is that idea, just far more sophisticated. It's going to assist you in keeping your key blanks in position without them moving underhand, because when you hold the die in between your thumb and index finger, let's say, you're not holding the key blank as well. You're only holding the die, and the underlying key blank or cylinder can and will move. So this marking plate is the way to go. If you need your stamping to look as professional as possible, as close to having been done on a machine, you're going to want to investigate in a marking plate. Graphite storage, a larger key marking plate here as well. Your die sets, factory endorsed lubrication. These are all pieces used in the combinating of your cores. This is a system that someone developed to help you easily determine what your pin stacks are going to be comprised of in terms of your A and B segments. A segments are your bottom pins, and your B segments are your master, control, top, driver pins, whatever you'd like to call them, build-up pins. More tools down here as well. Okay. Note about the boring jig. I ordered one of these in early 2020. They did not ship me anything that even resembled this. They apparently discontinued this and are now shipping a unit by shipping a unit that doesn't match this at all. And while it will do the job, it is definitely not this tool whatsoever. For instance, what they shipped will not do a 5-inch back set, that's for sure. And there you go. So, other tools are down in here that I would recommend you review. Back to this die set that we're looking at. The link to the manufacturer's page is here, and that's very handy because it's going to allow us to take a look at the encyclopedic documents that we have loaded on that page, along with all of the best products we sell, along with a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And as that page is loaded, all the best products we sell through this navigation, a link to their website, a link to the full product catalog. A couple of interesting documents here. Quick reference to combinating best cores. This link is literally what is underneath the lid of your pinning kit. Right here. The CD403, they make more than one pinning kit, but that quick reference guide is literally what's here. So if you needed or wanted a refresher or a review, this is the governing document. Simple, all on one page. And if you've pinned a small format in the past and you really just want a refresher, you might be able to just get it right through here. There's also a link to the A2 and A4 keys system training. This manual does technically present the subject matter on how to combine small format, albeit in a 124-page document that includes lots of information that may not be immediately necessary to you at all. However, calculating pin lengths, okay, in an A2 system, Best has 3 systems, A2, A3, and A4, and what the difference is in terms of combining them is the pin stack height numerical value is different between each of them, and the size of each pin. When you call a 2A segment in an A2 system, it's going to measure on a caliper differently than it will in an A3 or an A4 system. But the reason for the different systems is because the tremendous difference in quantity of potential in theoretical change keys that can be derived. A2 is a 2-step system, that has no max, so you'll be able to produce a lot of key blanks. But when you get into an A3 and A4, where they get into like an A3, a single-step system, you theoretically are able to generate a substantially higher number of differs. However, the A3 system has been sunsetted because it was found to be unreliable because the interval of the pins were far too close. And if you recall, they don't even mention A3 in the title of the document. So, as you study this, you can get to an understanding of what you're doing. And generally, the short math for us is you combine your change key and your master key. And whatever that is, it is. So this is let's just say that the change or the master, one is a 6 and the other is an 8. You're going to put a 6A segment or bottom pin and a 2B segment or master pin. Your pin total here is 8. Take your control key. In this case, let's just say it's 6. No, let's say it's 4. Your control key is 4. Add 10 to the control key. That makes it 14. You subtract your pin stack. That leaves you with 6. So now you take 23 and subtract from their 6, 2, and 6, which is 14. 23 minus 14 is 9, and that's your driver or your top pin. So the magic was add 10 to the control key, subtract your pin stack to that point. That's your control or build-up pin. Then take those 3 pins, if you're dealing with a level 2 system, subtract those from 23, and that's your driver pin. That's the moral of the story here. And they just continue to go over it chamber by chamber, and if you were to just follow that rule, you've got it. That's the bottom line. There are other ways to determine. You can find the driver pin by using the numerical value 10, but that's a deeper dive, and getting into small format interchangeable core pinning and combinating is available through several online resources, and an excellent book. I would suggest very much that you review the work of William Link. He has written a book called SFIC Advanced, obviously. I think there's an intro book as well, and he has more than just small format. He is an ALOA instructor. I have sat in his class on more than one occasion. He commands expert level understanding of the subject matter, and his book, one or two of them helped me pass the ALOA standard exam. So let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, this is the number set, the DD503 from Best. Every lock shop is going to need a way by which to stamp material, cylinders, or key blanks. Why not use the one that the factory endorses? If you have any questions on the DD503 number set or any other Best product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.